Hey! Hey there! Today I'm going to explain a little bit more about how average shot affects your weapon DPS and how it's actually one of the best ways to increase your damage. I've seen a lot of videos and discussions talking about weapon damage, especially that Serena and Gley are both gunner descendants. Majority of what I saw was just comparing and arguing damage numbers and DPS on the weapon tooltip. First of all, guys, DPS on the tooltip is very inaccurate. It does not calculate affinity advantage, weak point, and even weapon ability applicable damage. And a lot of people just use whatever module, course, and even readjustments as long as the DPS number goes up. It's just not accurate because there are a lot of other factors and nuances that affects the actual DPS, especially majority of which affects the damage stats mentioned earlier. Second thing is damage numbers doesn't always mean that the build is better. If you've watched my videos before, especially on weapons, you know I vouch for the importance of average shot. Fire rate affects average shot, reload time, magazine count, and that's important because in the calculation, the final number is literally multiplied to the final damage number. So for example, if you have a final damage number after weak point, resistances, crit, and all those other stats of 1 million, and after all reload time, fire rate, magazine count, you have an average shot of 10, that's literally 10 million damage per second. That's how you guys should calculate DPS and overall damage, not just damage numbers. But in this video, ever since Enzo's first ability was buffed, there has been a lot of discussions about reload time and all those that affects average shot. This video will aim to clear things up, reduce arguments, explain hidden stats, and how important certain modifiers are. First thing to discuss is about reload. This was already covered by Vash a few months ago, but I'll be adding and clarifying some stuff around the topic. The reload formula is simply this. Reload negative modifier has a cap of negative 30%, and reload timer cannot go below 900 milliseconds. Now, a lot of this is pretty understandable. The only noticeable stats that might be confusing to majority of people are the ranged in time and zoom in hold delay. Zoom in hold delay, to simplify things, is just a hidden stat that reduces your reload time and increases your average shot. This is also what we call reload cancel. This can be achieved when you hold down your shoot button in the middle of reloading, as you can see here. This affects our calculations because you actually need to reduce this to the weapon space reload time before any modifiers are factored in. And weapons does have different zoom in stat. Range in time is the delay in between the reload and your first shot. This is why every time a reload has finished, you don't immediately shoot your weapon. This stat is the reason for that. This is also a hidden stat, and the stat differs from other weapons. Both stats do not show in the tooltip, nor will be included in the reload stat on the tooltip. These stats drastically changes your average shot. This also means that it will drastically change your DPS numbers. But there are unique scenarios. For example, Gley. As mentioned in a lot of my Gley videos, Gley's third ability does not mean that she has no reload. She will only have unlimited ammo based on a duration, and her cast animation is technically her reload. And if we apply that to her unique average shot calculation, you'll have this formula. Zoom in delay does not apply here because it directly affects reloading, but range in time does affect Gley's average shot calculations, and it depends on the weapons used. This is also the same case for Serena. Though Serena does not have unlimited ammo, she still does completely skip the reload stats. Range in time still affects Serena's average shot depending on the weapons used. The value of him will also reduce your DPS drastically the more you use the ability. The difference is only 100 milliseconds, but as mentioned in this video, the damage difference is very relevant. For the majority of people who do not calculate, these stats are not going to be shown to you guys because this can only be data mined. But you can test this by counting frames with the expense of possible human errors. Does this matter? If you're calculating different modules for the same weapon, it won't, unless you're reaching max reload timer. But if you're comparing weapon DPS with another weapon DPS, these hidden stats matters. So including these, if you have the data into your calculation, will give you the accurate DPS for the weapon. For other descendants that does not have any reload skips, understanding how reload modifiers affects your average shot is going to be very important. Calculating the base reload with the modifiers is shown here. And as you can see in the examples, you suffer a lot more when you have a negative modifier. This is why in most cases, especially when a weapon have a low magazine count and fire rate, concentration priority and elemental priority will reduce your DPS. I already built my Enzo and Hailey, did the math, and I will show my Enzo calculation as an example. I won't be showing my builds yet, wait for when I upload the videos. This video is necessary because I found myself constantly mentioning average shot, fire rate, and the likes, so this will help me in the long run because I will just reference this video. Even though a positive reload modifier is not as good as you think, it matters when you have high base damage number and when you're reaching near 100% reload modifier. As mentioned earlier, average shot will be multiplied at the end. And I found out that with the buffed Enzo first ability, we now have a better DPS for Restored Relic, but it's not the build everyone is expecting. Do not be afraid to go for more reload modifier because if you understood how it works, it might just net you 1 million more DPS for your weapon. That's it for the video guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
This is hound action to all personnel. Void storm is intensified. Conditions are unfavorable. Proceed with caution. Over.
Large-scale Vulgus transfer confirmed. Descendant, stop the enemy troop deployment.